world title in everyone's imagination. That's the heavyweight champ. You were here. Everyone else was here. But since then, the feeling has been Joshua makes all this money fighting anyway, 30 million pounds, whatever it is. Why should he take 40 or 50 to fight Wilder when he's making against anybody? He can make 30, 40 million pounds, whatever it is.
No fantasy contracts, just reality. You know, bringing our worth to the table and bargaining and negotiating what we're worth and making this fight happen.
Which mentality do you come in with? I ask because when you were slick, to me that looked like a better fighter. But maybe this is the kind of fight where you just need to impose your strength.
Kellerman, known for mixing sharp technical insight with a touch of theatrical skepticism, immediately focused on the bigger narrative surrounding the event. He said there's no way around it. This is one of the strangest matchups we've ever seen in heavyweight boxing. Joshua is a former world champion. Jake Paul is an internet entertainer. So why is this fight happening? It's a question millions of fans have been asking since the announcement. Joshua's response set the tone for the rest of the conversation.
Or a heavyweight champion, you're an undefeated Olympic super heavyweight gold medalist, you're entering your physical prime, and you put 100,000 people in Wembley. So I get your argument. I have the economic clout. He's not coming in as partners. I should get a bigger slice of the pie. Let's have a realistic negotiation.
When asked what he respects most about Jake Paul, Anthony Joshua answered calmly but pointedly, he's bringing new eyes to boxing. He acknowledged that despite Paul's unconventional start and lack of an amateur background, Paul has thrown himself into the deep end and willingly placed himself under pressure. According to Joshua, the best thing about Paul is his enthusiasm and his willingness to challenge himself at a high level, something that, in Joshua's view, helps spotlight the sport and bring boxing to wider, fresher audiences.
The way you beat a guy like that, you're not going to outbox him. If you're waiting on him and he's initiating and he's feinting you into counters and then he's countering
the size difference between the two has become a major talking point, and for good reason. While Jake Paul has always been solid and strong in his own weight classes, when he stands next to Anthony Joshua, it creates a genuine David versus Goliath visual. Joshua doesn't just tower over Paul, his entire build reflects years of training as a heavyweight. The contrast between them when they stand side by side is almost shocking. Even though Paul has added muscle and weight, he still can't match the natural size or presence of someone accustomed to fighting true heavyweights.
Fighting Jake Paul, does he remind you of any guy that you fought before? Or is this a unique situation that you've never come across?
Very unique situation I've never come across, but treating with the same respect that I give all my competition.
So you got the mental fortitude, he's got the mental fortitude. But what's the one best thing that you pride Jake Paul of having that maybe you haven't seen in other competition you faced so far?
From a physical aspect, I couldn't even mention it at the minute. But from a mental aspect, he offered me to fight. Normally, I'm offering people fights. He's told me, come and fight. So he believes in himself.
What does the word legacy mean to you, AJ?
Legacy, what does it mean? This is what I was actually asking someone. What does legacy mean? I don't even know.
Nikisa Bidarian, CEO of Most Valuable Promotions, the company behind Jake Paul, told Sky Sports that the December 19th fight with Anthony Joshua is being positioned as a massive global-level event. Bidarian admitted that although Joshua has far more experience, Paul's almost delusional confidence could become the intangible X-factor that makes the fight unpredictable. He also revealed that the matchup was fast-tracked. The original plan was a fight in 2026, but Paul pushed to accelerate everything, and negotiations were compressed to make the bout happen now.
Jake Paul versus AJ, as though Jake Paul is the bigger in this equation. Not for me. Maybe for MVP, Nikisa, Jake Paul, but not for me. I've kind of marked it or titled it David versus Goliath just because of the size difference. Like, Jake Paul's a big guy. He is. He's 6'1", 220, probably fights around, the 200-pound mark. AJ is an enormous guy. Like, he's a big unit. And I think Jake realized that when they came face to face. I don't know if that was the first time they've ever come that close. I'm sure they've met behind the scenes, but I think there was a realization from Jake Paul, like, fuck, this is a big dude. It's a very big dude who isn't coming to play. Like, there was no play with AJ. That was a press conference that almost sounded like AJ versus someone in the top 10, where AJ's taking it seriously. He's answering the questions direct that Ariel's throwing him. There was no, yeah, we're here to kind of fuck around. This is going to be easy. Give me my money. Let me run back to the UK. This was AJ's like, no, we're taking this seriously. And that ain't a good thing for Jake Paul. It isn't. And AJ is that guy anyway. Like, I would never doubt that AJ would take this seriously. But for Jake Paul, I do wonder if realization is kicking in, or maybe he is just that delusional where he doesn't care. I do, and I've been sort of corrected by a few people who maybe know better, but I do think the Americans don't credit or rate AJ. I do think there's a bit of that. I remember when AJ did the rounds prior to the Ruiz fight, and there were a few people like, yeah, you're not that good. This was prior to...
Alexander Usyk has made it clear that he views the Joshua versus Paul fight as completely one-sided. Usyk compared Joshua to a Rolls-Royce and Paul to a Fiat, implying there's no realistic comparison between an elite heavyweight and an influencer-turned-boxer. According to Usyk, the difference isn't just in fame or hype, it's in fundamentals, experience, and physical readiness. He believes Jake Paul is putting himself in real danger by stepping into the ring with Joshua, given how drastically different their boxing backgrounds are.
Joshua?
So there's a lot of discussion around the weight. Joshua fought Usyk twice. Both of those times, Usyk was 221 pounds. Joshua was 240 to 245. When Jake fought Mike Tyson last year, 227 pounds. I expect Jake will come in anywhere between 225 and 230, and Anthony Joshua has a weight limit of 245 pounds.
There will be those, as you're aware, that will look at it and criticise this fight. There already have been, haven't there? They'll say it's a real mismatch. What would you say to them? Are we going to be watching sport at its purest?
I would say it's much less of a mismatch than what you saw with AJ and Francis Ngannou, who a massive man, but relatively no boxing experience. I would say it's much less of a mismatch than AJ's 9th or 10th fight against guys who've been knocked out 20 to 25 times. Given AJ's pedigree, Jake is built for this. Jake is built for the big moments. So do I think it's dangerous for Jake Paul? Absolutely. Do I think it's also dangerous for Anthony Joshua?
Tony Jeffries, an Olympic boxer, offered a different perspective on why Jake Paul shouldn't be underestimated. He said Paul has every resource a fighter could possibly want: elite trainers, world-class conditioning coaches, sports psychologists, nutritionists, and top-tier sparring partners. Because Paul has the financial means, he can create a near-perfect training camp without cutting corners. Jeffries also pointed out that Paul understands this is the biggest challenge of his career, so he will prepare harder than ever. On top of that, Paul has the age advantage. Jeffries reminded everyone that in boxing, youth is one of the biggest advantages. Young fighters recover faster, train harder, and often enter the ring stronger and more energetic.
Out of my chest.
Anthony Joshua is Olympic champion. Yeah. First. Jake Paul is, sportsman, YouTuber, showman. Rolls Royce, Fiat. Listen, it's true. I'm not.
Oh my God.
I have nothing better in mind.
Yeah. It's just true. It's business, more money. Only this.
So we need to pray for Jake Paul.
Yes. I will pray Jake Paul because I want to fight with Jake Paul in octagon.
Yeah.
Do you think that Joshua should be fighting Tyson Fury next year?
I want this fight. Yeah, I fan.